Last one. This concludes Startup Battlefield for the preliminary rounds, but tomorrow you need to come back for the finals. We're going to have 4 to 6 companies come back and present to you guys again to a whole new set of judges with a new pitch format as well. So please make sure you come back tomorrow. But tonight at 7, I think it's, I'm going to get in trouble because I think it's 9 p.m. on TechCrunch.com, we're going to announce the finalists. So look for that tonight. But before that, we have one more company. Coming to you from San Jose, California, is Betweened. Presenting for Betweened is Carla Engelbrecht. Bring them on out. Big round of applause.
I'm Carla Engelbrecht, CEO and founder of Betweened, where we're building mindful, responsible social media for kids and families.
When someone turns 16, you don't just hand them the keys to the car and expect that they magically know how to drive. You have to teach them. Nor should we give kids social media just because the privacy laws say that they're now old enough to engage with it. Because social media has some challenges, like predatory algorithms, addictive behavioral loops that reinforce toxic mindsets, strangers and creepers, not the Minecraft kind, sliding into DMs, compromised personal data, and inappropriate videos and messaging. And naturally, kids are lying about their age to gain access to these platforms that are not made for them. Now, I know this is a mom of a 12-year-old who's sitting right here. Moms talk about showing our daughters what we can do. But what I've learned about this generation is that there's 35 million of them in the US alone, never mind globally, whose needs are not being met. They're exposed to inappropriate content, their messaging needs are not met. The incumbents have left a soft spot in the market for products for kids. And on top of that, these kids drive $1 trillion in purchasing in the US alone in direct and indirect decision making. And the brands that market to kids lack ways to engage with them, and the spaces for reaching parents is crowded and noisy. Now, I know this as a parent, but I also know this as a developer. So I work in children's media, and I do this for a very specific reason. When I was in college, I was a victim of gun violence. I was shot by somebody who was 17 years old, and it set me on a path of really thinking about how does somebody end up there. And one of the answers for me was really about media. And this put me on a path to understanding impact. Work with Highlights for Children, PBS Kids, Sesame Street. I have a doctorate in education. And from that, working on impact, that drove me to thinking about scale. And at Netflix, when we launched Bandersnatch, we launched globally day and date on 1,000 supported platforms in 32 languages. So I've spent 25 years understanding how to balance scale and impact in education and entertainment. And that's what leads me to the work I do today. Because today's kids don't remember a time where notifications weren't blooping and bleeping at us 24/7. They need to be taught how to engage and how to disengage with technology, just like we teach them to read, to add and subtract, to think critically, even how we teach them to drive. And that is why we're building Betweened. Social media doesn't have to be bad when it's leveraged as part of a balanced social media diet, or balanced media diet even. Betweened is a platform that will support kids' digital literacy while providing the entertainment and education, the interaction that they crave. Between features kid-friendly versions of the creator tools that we see on major platforms. And all those dance challenges, hamster videos, magic tricks that kids create and share, that taps into essential developmental pieces of navigating emotions and self-expression. And we really encourage creating together, because whether you're creating with friends, with siblings, with your parents, that creating together not only heightens the learning and the skills that are learned through that, but it also deepens emotional bonds. Now, we also allow kids to connect through their profiles. We guide them to have authentic profiles. And we guide them to be socially and emotionally appropriate in their communication. So the only trolls that exist here are ones that we intentionally introduce as part of our guided curriculum. Now, just as you wouldn't ask somebody to drive a U-Haul and parallel park it in Manhattan before they've learned to parallel park in a nice, quiet suburban side street, we provide parental tools that can be turned on and off, because kids shouldn't have access to all of the tools right off the bat. So in this way, parents can customize the platform for the age and stage of their child and for their personal preferences. And then we work with them through our guided curriculum to decide when is the right time to introduce new tools to these kids. Now, let's see some videos. Go to demo. We're so pleased to introduce and debut the beta of Between here today on the TechCrunch stage.
Are you ready for a dance party?
We have a dance party.
Dance party time.
So as you scroll through Between, you'll see all kinds of content, whether it's funny dance videos, inspirational moments, educational moments, craft ideas, all kinds of things. And all of that content is there for the kids, and it is curated and moderated by experts, by adults trained in developmental psychology, and in our editorial guidelines to ensure that everything that is on the platform is appropriate for kids. Intermixed with the content are moments to pause, encouraging kids and their parents to stop and be thoughtful about how they're engaging with social media. This can range from tips through to interactive moments like our troll training. And all of this is done with verified parental consent, ensuring that we're privacy compliant around the world. Back to slides, please. Now, we're intentionally starting with content for our beta because this addresses a major pain point for parents, age-appropriate content. But it also ensures that Between is engaging from the start, allowing us to jumpstart network effects and data required to build a social graph. As we launch our beta, we'll begin doing good old-fashioned networking with parents and leveraging brand partnerships so that we continue to grow Between. As our social features come online, we'll introduce an invitation system for kids to connect with their friends. We began bootstrapping Between 2.5 months ago, and since then, a truly stunning group of advisors have already rallied around us. Together, we represent a dedication to leveraging the best of big tech and marrying that with impact of driving global impact in education around the world. We are now fundraising to hire our initial team to launch the full-featured product and begin iterating our way to a global family-friendly network. Now, Between is how we course-correct social media for kids around the world, ensuring that the millions of kids, my daughter included, grow up thoughtful and practiced in all that they do. Statistically speaking, all of you have kids in your life in one way or another, so our beta is ready. Please spread the word and come play with us on Between. Thank you.
Carla, that was very good. Let's start with Frederic.
So thank you so much for building that. This is much needed, and I'm glad that this product is coming to life. I wanted to understand your go-to-market in terms of acquisition channels. I like the brand partnership angle, but what's going to be, what do you see in terms of acquisition, CAC, organic growth, et cetera?
All the good things. So part of this is we're 2.5 months in, so we're figuring a lot of it out, and thank you for having us on the stage to help grow a bit too. But really, we're thinking about this as really we need to get out there and start talking to kids, talking to parents, get it in their hands, and understand the network pieces. One of the things we definitely see are there's the kids who spend their time together during the day, but then they're in a lot of activities like club sports and scouts. Summer camps are another great example where they come home and they want to connect with these kids that they don't see every day. So we're looking to get into those sorts of opportunities to start. I'm not going to wait until next summer camps, to grow, but those kinds of moments where the kids are a little bit disconnected. Cousins are a great example too.
Great, I like that.
We'll go to Rebecca and then Maren.
Thanks so much for sharing, and especially the personal angle of this story. So traditionally, social platforms have monetized via engagement, right? And this addictive nature that the experience tends to cultivate. So how do you think about treading that fine line between driving engagement that's needed for retention, that again veers on a vice and an addictive behavior, versus your mission around empowerment and building these healthy behaviors?
Yeah. So abstaining from social media and abstaining from advertising is not an option for us, right? Everyone needs to teach their kids in the grocery store that candy is in the aisle as you check out, because that is a moment of weakness where you can grab things, right? So to me, having advertising not only is practical from a revenue standpoint, but it's also part of how we continue to help kids understand the world that they operate in. To the challenge, though, of balancing it, there's a couple of different ways we're thinking about it. So I tend to think, there's sort of the drive to more minutes per day. I anchor more toward visits per month, that if we're able to create an effective platform that is, an episode's worth of content a day. Kids spend 4 to 6 hours a day on media. If they're spending 20 to 30 minutes on Between, but they're doing that repeatedly over multiple days, that not only gives us advertising opportunities, it gives us balance in how much they're engaging with media, And it also gives us the opportunity to continue to reach them from a revenue standpoint, but balance those two. Thanks.
All right.
Thank you so much for your presentation. I'm a mother of 3 daughters, and I'm terrified of social media.
Right.
So I think it really resonates with me. My question is, how do you moderate this platform?
Yes. So it's slightly terrifying. There's a lot, and at scale, suddenly there's a lot of content to moderate. So right now it's entirely human because we're learning, we're building the skills, but we are setting up to be able to collect the data so that we can leverage machine learning to do that initial pass, right? There's a lot that it can take out of the way. Then we can have humans, adults come in to do that next pass. And then another piece that we're going to experiment with is actually leveraging older kids as moderators. So, again, like if my daughter were to see something, she's 12, and she's going to find a rogue F word, right, kind of thing, I'm okay with that. And that's also part of her participating, kind of like a junior Redditor, participating and thinking about, like, how do I contribute to this community and make it stronger? So we'll look at the ways to be able to scale it that way.
Interesting. Sam?
Thank you so much. 2 things that come to mind. Really cool that your daughter's in the audience. I'm sure she's super proud.
Probably a little embarrassed too.
No, it's awesome. And then incredible progress in just 2.5 months. So congratulations. I'm not on Facebook or Instagram. I do have like a LinkedIn, but generally speaking, like not very active in social media. Can you tell us a little bit about the competitive landscape?
Sure.
There's obviously Facebook, Instagram, and some of those. And then what's to prevent one of the larger companies like Facebook,
Yeah.
when this really starts taking off, just creating sort of like a kids edition
Yep.
with their distribution and brand?
Yeah. So it's really clear that the big guys are not trusted. So even Facebook, Meta, whatever they were called at the time in 2021, attempted to do this with Instagram Kids, and it was a very public shutdown of that. They do not have the trust. You can see with TikTok getting banned in various places, there's a lot of commentary. They just do not have the trust. So there is an opportunity for smaller companies to come in who can build the trust. This is one of the things in my background of like, I have that to be able to build that trust. The smaller companies that have tried in this space have failed to get scale and that escape velocity. So they've built lovely businesses of about 3 to 8 million monthly active users. I believe, in talking with those folks and kind of looking at it, that really that cold start growth problem is suffering. In my case, I'm really thinking about this as like, come for the tool of the content, stay for the network. Those other companies have really focused on the network, and they have not built the componentized aspect of things to really be able to engage with the parents and age up the experience over time.
Any last questions? Thank you very much. Give her a round of applause. That's it. That's it for Startup Battlefield for today, but you need to come back tomorrow for the finals, and we'll see you then. Thank you so much.